How can we cultivate a heart of humility? The first thing is that we have to understand humility. Cultivating humility starts with first understanding what it actually means. There's a lot of misconceptions about it. It's not thinking less about yourself, it's thinking about yourself less. It's not going around telling everybody that you're a nothing or a nobody. That's a lie from the pit of hell. It's recognizing your own limitations, your own shortcomings. It's realizing that you can't do it all alone. You need help. You need God. Contrary to what the devil tries to tell you, humility doesn't diminish your worth. It doesn't diminish your value. It doesn't make you weak and less than. What humility does is that it lifts others up. It puts them before the self. That lays the proper foundation for the cultivation because it creates the right mindset, the mindset that we operate off of, and it creates the lens that we then look through towards our fellow men. Putting others before ourselves is tough, especially when it's people that we don't like or people that have been hurtful towards us. But that's where agape love comes in. We have to push past whatever those feelings are that we have in the natural, and we have to choose to love, even when that's the most difficult choice of all. We have to choose to see them like God sees them. The only way that we can ever do that is with humility. Jesus humbled himself to the point where he laid down his own life so that we could live our lives, and so that we could do so for eternity. We need to follow his lead and do our best to put other people and their interests before our own. The next step that we need to take to cultivate our humility is the art of listening. A lot of people hear, but they don't listen. There's a difference. That's why Jesus said people have ears, but they hear not, and eyes, but they see not. Not only does this happen, but people have a keen eye for realizing when it is happening. People know when someone's there with them, talking to them, but not actually listening to them. And we all know that from experience. That's never a good feeling. And we don't want that to be us. We don't want to be the person who's doing that. We don't want to be the one friend who's there, but never listens. We don't want to be that one parent that's present in the home, but never listens to their child. We don't want to be that one minister in the church who's always there to serve, but never there to listen to the problems of the people, never there to lend an ear. That's not who God calls us to be. That's not who we're meant to be. And we know that we're called to be better than that. Listening is how you understand people. And that understanding is important because that's how you grow deeper in your friendship, deeper in your marriage, or deeper in whatever type of relationship it is that we're talking about. A bond is formed. A connection is made. And that's not meaningless. It may not be spoken about or ever spoken out loud, but it's there and it's felt. It's as we listen to people, as we hear their side of the story, as we begin to see things from their perspective, that we gain respect for them, because now we know where they're coming from. Listening means that we shut down our mind and our mouth for a little bit, and that we just simply listen to what the other man has to say. That takes humility, and that's why it's such an essential habit to have to cultivate our humility. Next, we need to put forth a real concerted effort to serve one another. This too takes humility. Humility is nice to have when it comes to the way we think and the way we speak, but it needs to manifest in the way that we act. That's the most powerful demonstration of it. One of the most common expressions of it that we find is in our service. Would you serve if you knew that you would never get a reward? If you knew that you would never be thanked? If you knew that there were no accolades or nobody would even notice? It's hard to say yes to that because as much as we know that we should, we also know the inclinations of the human heart. That we want to look out for ourselves and serve in our own self-interest instead of serving God or the interests of other people. But we have to say yes, no matter how we feel in the natural. Although it's hard, we need to serve. We're commanded to do so by God. It's not an optional thing. The fact that it's not easy shouldn't deter us. Nothing worth doing was ever easy. It's the effort, the time, and the energy that are the sacrifices that we offer up when we do serve. That's especially important with time, because time is our greatest and most scarce resource. The more we serve, the more familiar we become with doing so, and the more inclined we are to do it more, which greatly furthers the cultivation of our humility and strengthens it in our life. The decision to be vulnerable is one of the toughest battles that we're going to face when we make up our minds to cultivate our humility. The carnal mind is afraid of humility. It's afraid of opening up and having its heart broken, its ego shattered, and its deepest hurts treated like they were nothing. We fear the worst, so we do nothing. We bottle it all up. We hold it all in. Doing so only serves to harm us in the long run, though. Fear is not of God. It's the spirit of fear sent by the enemy to hold us back from what we're really looking for. It's when you drive through your fear, using your faith, deciding to be vulnerable, deciding to take that risk. That's when you find the freedom, the liberation, the release that you've been looking for all along. If you hold it all in for too long, you'll explode. That's emotionally, that's spiritually, that's mentally, that's in a million other ways. You'll have a breakdown. You'll come apart at the seams. That's why God calls us instead to be open, to bare our heart, to be willing to pull back the veil of the inner self. Is it possible that your heart will be broken? It definitely is. But vulnerability is also the only thing that opens you up to true love. The man who doesn't open up his heart, he keeps it locked away safe. Safe from pain, but also safe from love. That's the cost of safety. Humility calls for us to be willing to take that risk. Be willing to lose your life in order that you might find it. Be willing to be abased, that the Lord might exalt you. Gratitude is also necessary when cultivating humility. The ego and our pride will constantly try to make us think that our blessings are the work of our own hands, the fruit of our own labor, the manifestations of our own willpower, but that's not the case. Although we may have played a part in seeing them come to pass, it's foolish to think that we did it all alone. God is the one who blesses us. It's He who gives, and it's He who takes away. It's He who, in His wisdom, decided that we should be blessed, and saw to it that we were. It's not that we deserved it, not that we earned it either, not that we bought it. It's freely given. It's a product of grace. Given not because of some transaction that we made with Him, but because of His love for us. It's that gratitude that helps to rob pride and ego of their lifeblood. It takes all the focus off of self and rightly puts it on God. Then as we begin to focus on Him and love and appreciate Him and all that He's done, that'll naturally overflow to His people, our fellow believers. Our gratitude to God makes us want to do what He commanded us to do, which is to love, serve, and minister to His children. Having an attitude of gratitude, a mindset defined by it, a way of acting that demonstrates it, allows humility to not only be cultivated, but to flourish in our life in a way that can be felt and seen by those that we help, and all those who we put before ourselves. That's why we always need to take a few moments each day and remember the blessings that the Lord's given us, and remember to be thankful for what we do have and not worried about what we don't have. The sixth thing is the most difficult part of cultivating humility, and it's the one that most of us really struggle with. Humility calls for us to forgive one another. That sounds really nice in theory, but what happens when it's forgiving somebody that you can't stand, or somebody that hurt you really badly, or somebody that's trying actively to work against you? Then it could feel nearly impossible to forgive them. But yet we're commanded to do so. We're commanded to forgive our fellow men, irregardless of what they've done or who they are. We want to make all these different types of excuses. If only it wasn't them. If only they hadn't done that. If only they hadn't done it in that way. I would have loved to have forgiven them, but now I don't think I can. These are all lies that we tell ourselves to try to justify what we know can't be justified. But we have to think about the person who wronged us. That's where humility comes in. We have to view them like God views them, as another man who's made in the image and in the likeness of God, but yet also at the same time, another broken, fallen man just like we are. We would want somebody to forgive us when we wrong them, so we have to be willing to do the same for them. It's going to be a battle, and a very tough one. Every fiber of your being is going to try to tell you not to do it. But we have to look to God and the fact that He says to do it, that we're commanded to do it. We need to entrust our pain and our hurt to Him. And we have to choose to show our fellow men grace, even if we don't feel like they deserve it. The same way that God showed us grace, even when we didn't deserve it. There's true humility, and then there's a false counterfeit of it, by which the devil attempts to fool God's people. Many think that they're being humble, when really at the end of the day, the exact opposite is the case. This is where integrity comes in. Living with integrity, putting into action what we believe, both in the public eye and behind closed doors, is necessary. We can't do without it. True humility isn't an act. That's how we live at all times. It's the inward certainty of who we are in God's eyes that gives us the ability to be okay with playing second fiddle while somebody else is getting the spotlight. When we have false humility, we can't stand that. We want all the attention for ourselves, and we want to brag and boast about the fact that we don't brag or boast, using humility not to serve other people, but to serve ourselves. We use it to make people feel pity for us, to make them feel impressed as to how much we serve and how hard our service is. The common denominator is that it all revolves around self, never anybody else, especially not the people that we're supposedly serving. That's how you can detect false humility. Integrity is the antidote to that. As we choose to live out our beliefs, there won't be any room for this counterfeit of the enemy. We'll be living in true humility, allowing ourselves to decrease so that God and His influence can increase in our lives. Your integrity won't get you seen or applauded by men, but it will be seen and applauded by God. And at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. For more of God's Word, remember to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.